Vice President Mike Pence is in Georgia today rallying for the highly anticipated Senate runoff races. He's made numerous appearances in the state in the past few weeks to show support for Republican Senators David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler. It comes as early voting is now underway for the January 5th runoff races. Here's what he said in Columbus earlier.
We need Georgia to send these two great senators back to Washington because of who they are, because of all that we've accomplished together, and because a Republican Senate majority could be the last line of defense.
For more on this, I want to bring in CBSN political reporter Caitlin Huey-Burns. She's in Columbus, Georgia, where Vice President Mike Pence is at a rally for the Senate runoffs. Hi, Caitlin. Great to see you. So this is not the first time we've seen Vice President Pence rallying for the Senate runoffs in Georgia. Tell us about his presence in the state.
Hi, Tanya. Well, greetings from a very chilly airport hangar in central Georgia. Pence is coming here to campaign for Perdue and Loeffler. And one thing we're going to be watching from his remarks today is if there's any sort of acknowledgement that his ticket did not win this state and the presidency, because that's kind of the mixed messaging coming from Republicans here in Georgia, which is that on one hand, the president hasn't conceded and hasn't acknowledged defeat, but on the other hand, they're arguing that these two Senate seats will be the last line of defense against Democrats in power. So that's what we'll be listening for the vice president. But his coming here today is an effort by Republicans to really rally up their base and make sure that voters who supported the president and the presidential ticket on the top of the ticket also show up in this runoff to vote in Loeffler and Perdue, the two Republican incumbents in this runoff. These are base elections. You have to make sure every member of your base gets out to vote, and that's the message coming from Republicans here.
And Caitlin, you spoke with Democratic Senate candidate Jon Ossoff on Wednesday. He will face Republican Senator David Perdue in January. Here's what he had to say about the significance of this election. Let's listen.
And we are getting out the vote like never before by inspiring people about what's possible when we win these Senate races and making sure that everybody knows that if Mitch McConnell continues to control the United States Senate, he will try to do to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris exactly what he tried to do to President Obama. They will block the COVID relief and jobs bill that we need. They will block the increase to the minimum wage that working families need. They will block affordable health care. They will block the civil rights and voting rights legislation that we need. We can't afford gridlock and paralysis because we have good work to do, and we can only do it by winning these two Senate races.
So, Caitlin, how is he feeling about the race right now, and what else did you hear from Ossoff?
Thank you for being with us.
Well, the message from Ossoff and Reverend Warnock, the other Democrat running in the runoff, is that they are wanting to be elected to help Joe Biden pass his agenda. If those two Democrats are successful, that means there'll be a 50-50 split in the Senate, and Kamala Harris as vice president would be that tie-breaking vote. So they are very much campaigning as someone who could help Biden's agenda get passed in Congress. But they do face challenges here in Georgia. While Joe Biden won the state by nearly 12,000 votes, becoming the first Democrat to do so since 1992, the Democratic Senate candidates ran behind Joe Biden. So, for example, Jon Ossoff got about 100,000 fewer votes than Joe Biden did in November. So that suggests that they have more work to do to try to replicate that same kind of turnout that Joe Biden got. Now, I asked Ossoff about that, why voters may have voted for Biden but not Ossoff. And he said that there were voters that voted for the top of the ticket and didn't vote down ballot. He also said that they're aiming to turn out new voters, particularly younger voters, those who have turned 18 between the general election and the runoff. And so those are the voters that they're targeting, trying to get more people still out to vote. And he says that the Democrats believe that a more concentrated race and the fact that the stakes are so high in this runoff that the balance of power will be determined by whoever wins this runoff will energize voters. And we can say that talking to voters on the ground here supporting both candidates, there's certainly a lot of energy. Democrats tell us that they want to keep up that momentum that they got in the general election. And even Republican voters have been telling us that they want to make sure that they get out. And that's a question that we've had going into this race, is whether the president's rhetoric undermining the results of the election and claiming without evidence that they're fraudulent, whether that would have any impact on Republican voters turning out. And voters that we talked to at early voting sites say that they are determined, in fact, to come out and vote with the Senate on the line.
And Caitlin, President-elect Biden was also in Georgia this week, and we've learned more about the work his campaign has been doing for these Senate runoffs. What more did we learn?
Well, if you turned on your television in Georgia this morning like I did, you will have seen a Joe Biden ad for Warnock and Ossoff, a direct-to-camera urging voters to turn out in the runoff elections and to vote early for those two Democratic candidates. The Biden campaign, as our own Ed O'Keefe has reported, has spent about $5 million on this race and has about 50 members of the campaign still here working on these runoffs. They're hoping that they can encourage people that turned out for the top of the ticket to kind of keep that momentum and turn out again. So Biden came here earlier this week to basically say that, look, a vote for these two Democrats is a vote for me and my presidency and the future of the legislative agenda that Democrats want to get passed.
All right, Caitlin Huey-Burns, thank you so much.